Hey guys, today we're back with Simon. He was on a couple weeks ago for this agency accelerator course. His Twitter growth has actually like 10x since then. That might be something interesting for
Yeah,
us to also talk
we'll
about.
do that as a bonus at the end. That's a good idea.
Cool. Well, Simon, we were talking kind of before about what we want to discuss, and you explained it so well. So I'm handing the keys over to you.
Okay, cheers, man. Be careful. Be careful with the keys in my hands. Yeah, so we were just talking about how to support guys in the program on client acquisition, right? And so there's all of the normal front end stuff. Are we doing direct outreach? Are we growing a content portfolio on Twitter or LinkedIn? These are all great ways to get leads. And there's, I think, many better players out there than me on how to actually get a lead in the door. I'm not the best at that. I've never had like massive lead flow. But what I'd like to talk about is how to take a bigger percentage of those leads and actually turn them into clients, and not just clients, but quality clients that have some bit of magnetism to your business. That's because you're doing something unique, right? So how can you package a solution that is differentiated from the market? Because you at this point, and what I've noticed in my career, I've been in the game in e-com since 2012, and then had an agency since 2017. And every year there's more proficient killers that are as good, if not better than you. Well, at least that's been my experience. And the way, the way information disseminates on Twitter now, as soon as someone finds something out, it's like, boom, and everyone is kind of playing on the same field. So the question is, how do you create a offer with leveraged value in it that could be that difference maker when a client is deciding between you and someone else? They're looking at content, that content looks good that they make. Okay, yeah, they seem to be proficient with their media buying. I've called a couple of clients from each of them, and they're both saying they're great. What's the difference maker? So I'll give you an example of one that we did. And I think this is something that every agency could add to their portfolio straight away. But this is just one example. And given your unique set of circumstances and nuance, and it could be anything that you do, but here's what we did. So the Facebook team in APAC region, obviously we've got, especially for Australia and New Zealand, 5 million people in New Zealand, 26 million people in Australia. So they had a mandate internally, which was kind of like, hey, let's get our guys to go global, right? Let's get them in the US, the UK, Canada, bigger markets. They start spending. That's more ad revenue for Facebook. So that was kind of a big play. I was chatting with my account rep. I figured that out. I had been toying around with this strategy of market testing with our internal brands. And then so I just started having the conversation with them. I was like, well, how's it going with your merchants? Are they wanting to scale globally? What's the go? What's the roadblocks? Got into a conversation. There's a bit of trepidation there. So put this sort of one pager together for them, which helped them understand exactly how to go about it, what we would do, and take a lot of the risk out. So the market testing methodology basically is, hey, and the way to pitch it is, at this point in the market, we're in a post iOS 14 world. A lot of the channels are getting saturated. If you've got a reasonably large brand, 7 or 8 figures in any sort of Canadian, UK, Australian, New Zealand market, US maybe not so much. Generally, you're going to have been around the orchard at least once, right? Or twice, maybe. Everyone on Meta has seen a couple of impressions from you. And maybe you're starting to get the same way on TikTok. And so the conversation is, there's other orchards around the world with fruit that looks fucking near identical to the fruit that we're currently chasing. Why don't we identify if there's return on investment there prior to incurring any of that stock cost? And so what that allows us to do is, where other agencies are kind of thinking really locally, we'll do that. We want to scale you locally, but we also want to think about, how can we scale you globally? Is there low-hanging fruit for your business in other regions that you haven't looked at and that you haven't considered an opportunity to test for? We're always looking for the most direct path for your brand to scale. We want to think smarter, not harder, especially in a market environment like today. So you're throwing pitches and shit like that. I just want to give people a few one-liners, but what we do, the basic premise is, let's take a store from the US and let's let's clone it 6 or 7 times in Shopify. If you're on Shopify Plus, it's really easy. And let's take that store, let's localize it for the UK, for Canada. Let's get a .co.uk, sorry. Let's set up the shipping so it's like in 2 days and £3, like look really local. Let's take the best performing creative from a channel. Let's drop it in a new ad account, or you can just use a campaign in a different ad account. I've always liked to set up separate ad accounts. That might just be from the good old days where that actually made a difference. So you could probably just do campaigns. And then run traffic on your best performing creative to that fully localized store without actually putting any of the stock there. Eat shit on the shipping. Every order is going to cost you money. This isn't a profit exercise, it's a data exercise. And then you come out the back of it with, oh, well, there's a 7 ROI in Canada, there's a 4 ROI in the UK, and Australia and New Zealand sucked. Okay, cool. Well, there's my expansion path. And so now you've got pre-validated return on investment for your marketing in a market, and you can talk with your client and like, hey, let's get there, let's scale. And obviously, if that's additional regions and you're just on a retainer, then you're going to be charging more for that. If you're on a percentage of spend or a percentage of growth or any sort of like performance incentive, you're going to make more money there. So this is kind of dual faceted, right? It's also like maybe you're having a conversation with the client, you're figuring out maybe they're considering global or whatever. This methodology, this experience and testing global markets, everyone wants to go global, everyone wants to be a global brand, could be the thing that gets you over the top. Or is there an opportunity here to go to your existing clients and say, hey, we'd really love to scale through depth in our client success rather than width of clientele. So rather than going out to get more clients, we were thinking internally, how can we help our existing brands scale more and make more money there? Right now, you don't need a new client relationship because you're getting like 2 clients worth of revenue out of a single one that you've already got a trusted relationship with, which is easier to manage. Yeah, so that's an example. Be fucking more than happy for anyone to take. Literally, we'll give you this deck, and I made one which people can enter their like different details in if they wanted to, but just rip it and do it, because it's super easy to like localize this clone storefront, localize a creative, run a media buying test. Yeah. So any questions on that specific piece?
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So there's an additional piece here, which I did as well. And I think this is what you did in your agency, right? Is where you're at now is you've got this ridiculously gangster strategic partnership that just puts you above the top. And so it'd be lovely if we could all partner with Chase Diamond, like that'd be great, but we're not all at that level. So it's like, who in my ecosystem that I could add mutual value with? I'm always thinking 49-51. I'm always thinking in my partnerships, I want to deliver a little bit more than they do. And when both partners enter with that vein, you kind of ladder up and just continuously add value, which is really cool. And so this is a pretty unique scenario, but early on in my career, I was mentored by the owner of Supply Chain Solutions Global, a 3PL, and then he ended up buying half my business. And so Glass Elephant's always been partnered with this logistics business. And then we ended up taking it global. And so we've got this global logistics network. And so when I sit down with clients and pitch, I'm going, oh yeah. And so what does your logistics profile look like? Oh yeah, cool. Are you considered new markets? Yeah, well, we've got this. We could take you into those markets. Like often we'll open a pitch with, here's our sister company. And this is what makes us different, because we actually ensure all of the demand that we create is fulfilled. Right. So you're immediately now not a Facebook ad agency, you're a global growth partner that's really good at Facebook ads, which is a differentiated position. And so maybe you can do that with a 3PL. Maybe you can do that with, getting the right email and CRO partner and putting together a cool thing. And then you pitch together and, maybe you could create a little agency network where, hey, we'll look after this core media buying and strategy component, but from there, we've got an email and a landing page guy. And by the way, we guarantee all of our service levels together. So we'll deliver on budget, on time, or you don't pay the entire bill. You know how everyone's doing this, like we'll reduce your CPA by 40% if our creatives don't outperform. Like, so now that you've got 30 people with that guarantee, is there a layer above that? And so that's what I'd be encouraging people to do once you've got your lead flow set up, is how is there a way that's really nuanced and contextual to your business where you can set up a differentiated position?
Dude, love it. I think the great place to end here would be about Twitter. I think the stuff that you just talked about is really cool and exciting, but I just said that and you're already smiling. So I think we must have talked.
It is a win. I'm mind blown.
Tell me about this. Yeah. So I don't know if you mentioned this on the first one or not, if you just told me about this, but you obviously have a great story, but I think you were just kind of like, for whatever reason, shy to tell it. Someone encouraged you to start telling it. And, since we talked maybe about a month ago, you're up like 10x followers from like low 200, 300 to maybe now, I think like mid 3000s, right? So What have you done? What have you received? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, cool. This is good. This is probably should have been the first half. This is probably my imposter syndrome. I'm not good at lead gen. Just fucking done this, right? Like, so about a year ago, I came up with Jack Butcher a little bit. We met like 4 years ago when we were both starting our journey. He's got this fucking awesome page, Visualize Value, which everyone should follow. It's fucking gangster. And he had me on for a podcast year and a half almost ago. That's where I got those 230 followers from. And I kind of knew I should post, but I didn't. I was just still too scared. Like, whenever I would go to make, and so I'm just going to tell the full story here, because I think, honestly, everyone knows really what you need to do on Twitter to grow. Be authentic, have a bit of credibility, do 2 threads a week, comment on other people's profiles that are big. You got to do all this stuff. So those are the tactical bits, but I reckon the thing holding most people back is they're actually just scared to be fully authentic. That's what it fucking was for me. So I didn't post. I was too scared. And then what I've been doing in my life is I've been working like hot and cold therapy, meditation, psychedelics. I've just been developing like my self-worth basically to get to the point where I could put myself out there again. Because after I fucked up my first business, I was just like, I'm a loser. That kind of became my story, which is not true, but it is what it was. And then, so I got into kickboxing as well. That was really helping me. And then I had my first fight, and I made the decision to live stream the first fight. And then what I used from there, and I ended up winning that fight, and it was awesome. But then what I used, every time something comes up to me, and I still get it today, even though I'm like, people obviously want to hear what I have to say. I'm like, what is more embarrassing than getting knocked out live in front of your girlfriend? Post the fucking content. Who cares if some fucking neckbeard is going to judge you or think you're a loser, or that's been said before, or whatever, right? And also what I identified is the same judgments I was applying to everyone else that's been said before, Those were the same judgments I was using internally to stop myself from posting. So bit of woo-woo, like psychological stuff there. But if I had, as soon as I fucked up my last business, got on Twitter and documented the process from 200 grand in debt to a global empire, I would have millions more dollars in my pocket. And that's a similar story for a lot of people. So that was kind of how I got over the let's not post thing. And then I got onto Twitter and just started posting. And then I think I got my first little like viral retweet thing. And then I was hooked. I was like, okay, I get it. And I started having I had conversation with you really early on. Yeah. I was like, holy fuck, the access of this platform is wild. Like, I can have a conversation of that level so quickly. You gave me this really quality advice. You're actually a really critical component in me going, I'm all in on this. It's because that, like, and especially the advice you give me, I followed it and it worked. So I guess that's the psychological component that allowed me to start posting. And then if I talk about why I think I've grown quickly without any shout outs and stuff yet, I'll go through it. So I don't know. I'll just bring up the analytics if you guys want to see. Like, that's a good, right?
Yeah, do whatever. Whatever you want to go through.
Yeah. So Feb, nothing. Made maybe a post or two on in March, 12,000 impressions. Then April was 770 impressions, 770K. And then so far in May we're at 361. So amazing. And so
Yo,
you're back. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, I have no clue what happened. Let's keep going. Yeah.
All good. So and this bio wraps it up. So story, clout, credibility, accomplishments, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And so the story is interesting, and then it's weaved in with a level of accomplishment. Now, this bio is really interesting because I'm essentially arbitraging my business partner's accomplishments and clout through my profile, but he's never going to do it. He's not getting on Twitter. He can't be fucked, because the majority of that 70 million in revenue is actually due to his 23-year journey. And, you know, I own 10% of Supply Chain Solutions Global. I own 50% of our internal brand studio, and I own 50% of the agency. But that's sort of like, you know, that's not the majority position of the overall company. But I co-founded the global DTC Titan with him. It's not untrue. It's just as well presented in terms of cutting through for me that it possibly could be, with that story weaved in. There's another point there as well. I think that the arbitrage opportunity on Twitter is, if you can display accomplishment and credibility, you get further. And then all of the accomplishment and credibility in the market generally is skewed older, 40, 50, 60, 70. Like, that's where actually all the big wins are. And none of those guys are on Twitter. And so we've got all these younger dudes. You think about like what you and I have achieved. It's like, it's great in like in this world. But I think there's real opportunity for people to be partnering with dudes, or like really successful dudes that like would never ever be on Twitter, and then sort of parlay some of that clout, some of that achievement, some of that credibility, maybe if you don't already have it. I also gave that as advice to any ghostwriters, like go and find like super clouted up dudes on other platforms that aren't on Twitter, just bring them here. So story, achievements and clout displayed. And then I think there's an authenticity piece. I made the call, like using that cognitive device of nothing's more embarrassing than getting knocked down in front of your missus, just post truth. So it's full blown document over create. Like I'll throw up fucking, I'll throw up aggressive caps only diatribes at the university system. Sometimes I'll do a joke. I'll be like, oh, I wish they taught me how to pick up a chick in school, you know? It's literally just me. It's a stream of consciousness. And then the things that work really well, the things that have driven the majority of the growth, is this exact template here, and anyone can do it. Yes. Single tweet. This will make you a lot of money. You know, there's obviously a content framework in there. A really cool looking sheet. Like, that's what I've noticed goes off. And then what we do is we blur out most of it, but leave a few interesting bits so that they can see what they're going to get a piece of. And then it's retweet and comment something, and I'll send it to you. Right. So that's been the majority driver of the growth. And so we do a couple of those a week, and then just stream of consciousness in between, cool stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of been the growth from my, like, driving my profile, driving my impressions. And then what I do is when all of these people are coming in, I would go into my notifications, and I'd have a look at who's been following me. And then I just have a look here. And this is where I spend the majority of my time. And I think this is a missing link for most people. I think I'm so new, I don't know, but I think is Elon's Musket. That's fucking funny. He gets a follow. I love that. So I just go in here and genuinely follow people that, like Elon's Musket, like I would have a chat with you. Like, what are you up to? I don't know, but you know, he's doing Web3. That's cool. I'll have a chat with him. I'll be like, dude, loved your name. Like, you want to get on and have a chat about how Web3 could influence ecom? And then I'm having a conversation and I'm networking. And so the same thing with anybody that's doing something interesting. He's got like, look at this dude. He's got 10 followers. And he's spent £3 million. I'm looking to scale brands in the UK. That's cool. Let's go, Adam. Dude, love your content. Right? So why go fishing if you don't reel anyone in? But it's not about reeling them in and like pitching them anything. I get on and if the conversation turns to me delivering value, like if I can help them with something, cool. If it turns into me pitching Supply Chain Solutions Global, like go there. But the basic premise is have a worthwhile, valuable conversation with this person. Don't try and sell them anything at all. Make the premise, how can I make this call valuable for this person? How can I make this person want to get on another call with me? And so I guess that's the 5-step process. If I had to wrap it up, it's like display as much of your credibility, authority, clout, whatever you want to call it, as you can. Weave the story into that. The bio is a really good place to do that. That's sort of the core organizing North Star for the rest of the ecosystem. Be brutally authentic. Take the best, valuable, cool looking content that you've got, do retweet and comment stuff to get like some growth. And then as those followers are coming in, people that you find interesting, engaging, intriguing, that you'd love to have a conversation with, be a human, hit them up. Worst going to happen is they won't message you back, and then have a conversation from there. And so that's been the whole strategy. That's exactly what I've done.
Dude, I love it. And what was your handle? Was it Ecom Simon?
Ecom Simon.
Econ Simon. So no N, just SIMO.
Yeah, Ecom Simon without the N. Yeah.
Okay. Econ Simon. Sweet brother. Well, I appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.